Want to get creeped out? I want to talk about someone else who tried the Three Kings ritual. The format of this one is going to be a little bit different, but stick with me. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. My cousin's name is June, and we've always been extremely close. We're the same age and even share the same birthday. My cousin June did the Three Kings ritual, and I wanted to share our story. I'm hopeful that if you hear this, you will think twice before doing the Three Kings challenge. A couple of years ago, June read about the challenge. She was always reading creepypastas and creepy articles on Reddit. She asked me if I would be her loved one for the challenge. I said yes, because I thought it might be fun. Never in a million years did I think anything would actually happen. If anything, I thought my cousin might exaggerate or make something up after the fact to try and scare me. We chose to do the ritual at June's house because she had the better spooky basement. It was large and unfurnished and unfinished with cement floors and tiny windows that could easily be covered up. Her boyfriend was superstitious and thought that we were crazy for messing around with the supernatural realm, as he put it. So he decided to stay at his parents' for the weekend. We set up everything in the basement perfectly to a T. We followed the rules exactly because she really believed in this stuff and was looking for an enlightening experience. We hung out and played some cards until about 10 p.m. when we decided to call it a night. I asked her what she was going to use for her power object just before she went to sleep. Her response surprised me as she shrugged and said,
I don't know, something old that I have.
Without actually telling me what it was. I felt like it was strange because we were the type of cousins, the type of friends that told each other everything, no matter how embarrassing. She went to sleep in her room, and I used the pullout in the living room. The pullout was uncomfortable, and I had a terrible time falling asleep. At 3:30 a.m., my alarm went off, as did hers. She smiled at me as she walked past the living room with a candle lit in her hand. She looked so excited. I never caught what the power object was. I followed her into the kitchen towards the door to the basement, but by the time I got into the kitchen, she was already on her way into the basement and closing the door behind her. Something you should know about the house was that it was an extremely tiny rental house. The basement was the largest part of the house by far. Anyways, because it was so small, you could not do anything without someone hearing you. For that reason, I decided not to watch TV or YouTube or anything on my phone while she did the ritual. I didn't want to disturb her. I decided to read a book. Catcher in the Rye, one of those classics that everybody talks about, and I figured it was time I should read it. I'd been reading for about 15 minutes when I started to hear voices. It sounded like it was coming from the air vents, which of course connected into the basement. For a moment, I thought June had gotten bored of the ritual and started watching something on her phone. The more I thought about it, the less it made sense. I felt like if that was the case and she was bored of the ritual already, she would have come upstairs and told me, screw this. Let's go back to bed or let's watch something together. She had been so excited about this ritual too. Her giving up on it so quickly just didn't compute. Yet I knew we were the only two people in the house. As the voices continued, my suspicion grew. I decided to kneel on the floor and press my ear against the air vent, hoping I could hear something better. I couldn't make out what the voices were saying, but I could distinctly hear a man's voice, a deep voice, a higher pitched voice, and a voice that had the same tone and pitch as my cousin. She was answering them, talking with them. Of course, it crossed my mind that she was playing a trick on me. Skeptics could and will say that maybe she was. I don't know what to tell you other than that our relationship just wasn't like that. We didn't trick each other or play pranks on each other. It just wasn't our style. I started to feel uncomfortable. There was a knot in my stomach. It truly felt like something supernatural was happening. As someone who has never been interested in the paranormal, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. The deep man's voice sounded angry, hostile even. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to go see for myself. I had to make sure she was okay. I was getting worried. I was terrified. But I tiptoed over to the door of the basement and pressed my ear against it. I could still hear the voices. This was crazy. How could this be happening? I turned the handle with as much care and control as I could to keep silent. It sounded like June was crying. I started to tiptoe down the wooden stairs, conscious of the space between each step, worried that something was going to come in between that space and grab my foot. I was praying that the steps wouldn't creak. I felt absolutely sick to my stomach and could still hear the voices. But as I got closer, they got quieter, almost like a muffled murmuring. It was so dark that I realized I would need the light from my cell phone. It didn't seem like June's candle was lit anymore, otherwise it would have been throwing off some light. I turned the flashlight on, and as soon as I did, the voices stopped. My heart plummeted As I shone my light into the cold room, onto the chairs, onto the throne, June wasn't there. I felt like I could throw up. I felt like I was in a horror movie. And I know what you're thinking, that she was playing a joke on me, but she wasn't. I continued down into the basement, and once I got down, I started to shine my light in each corner, the far left corner, the far right corner, the corner behind me. I screamed when my light came across her. June was standing in the dark corner, staring at me, but it wasn't her. Her face was blank. It was like no one was home. June? I called her name feebly. She didn't respond. I had remembered something in the rules about not touching the person who was doing the ritual. I felt like if I did touch her, something terrible would happen. I cautiously turned my back to her and went towards the chairs where there was a bucket of water and a mug. And I thought, screw the mug. I grabbed the entire bucket. I turned around and almost dropped it. She was right there, right behind me. She must have followed me silently because I didn't hear her. I didn't take a second to think. I just poured the water on top of her. She gasped, but it was her. She was back. She became herself again. I told her I was sorry for stopping the ritual, but something weird was going on. She said it was okay, but she didn't say anything else. She just started walking upstairs and went straight to her room. I followed her up. It was barely after 4 a.m. I went back into the living room and sat on the pull-out couch, totally unsure of what to do. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to tell her what I had heard. I wanted to know that she was okay. I didn't sleep that night. I laid there, terrified. I left early the next morning, exhausted. I texted her for days afterwards, but I would only get one-word responses, and it was so strange. Our relationship had never been like that before. A few weeks later, her mom told my mom that she had broken up with her boyfriend of 4 years. She barely talks to anyone in our family anymore. She's withdrawn. She's quiet. A light used to shine from her, but now when I look at her, all I can see and all I can feel is darkness. I'm begging, don't do this ritual.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and click that notification bell if you want to be updated when a new video is posted.